Hi folks, this episode of Just Outdoors ICTV is going to involve some custom rod making for all you fishermen out there. We have Joe Doty. Joe?
Nice to meet you.
And we're going to be talking about his little hobby. He's just starting out making rods and he's going to take us through the whole process. So stay tuned, should be a good show. Just Outdoors is brought to you in part by
Jervelin Hardware Inc., Deer River. Jervelin Hardware offers a broad selection of paints and sporting goods and a complete line of plumbing and electrical supplies. Jervelin Hardware, 108 Main Avenue, Deer River.
Meds One Emergency Medical Services. Meds One provides mobile advanced life support, community paramedic primary care services, and education, event medical support, and consulting. Preserving lives and improving health. In an emergency, always call 911.
This program is sponsored in part by Brewed Awakenings Coffee House. Brewed Awakenings is a green business with the mission to be a cafe where a person can eat every day and be healthy. Nurture your inner being at Brewed Awakenings, downtown Grand Rapids on Highway 2 East, across from the courthouse.
Hi folks, welcome to Just Outdoors. This is a program to bring you the bare facts about the woods, the waters, and wildlife of Itasca County. Today we have a special guest. His name is Joe Doty. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, glad to be here.
Great. And you have a hobby.
That's correct.
And the hobby is, so far, you might want to get into a business someday with this, but this is how people start out. They start out with a hobby.
That's correct.
And this is, you're making rods.
Yes, it's been quite a process learning everything that goes into them.
You're making rods out of, actually the handles are going to be diamond willow, taken right from Itasca County.
That's correct. Actually off my parents' property. So.
Right, sounds good. Well, we're going to be talking about the process here. Okay. And you're going to show us some things on how you start this out and where you get the blanks and the whole process. In fact, you've got a piece of diamond willow right cut. Just plain, right here.
It's ready
we're
to
going to
go.
start from that.
Show you how to lay that down and start to get the shape into the handles.
Okay, tell the folks a little bit about who you are and how long you've lived in Grand Rapids and a little about Joe Doty.
Okay. Well, obviously my name is Joe Doty. I've been born and raised here back in 1989 and ended up buying my grandfather's house, and that's why I got a shop here today to work out of, so it's been a good deal.
Yeah.
I guess I got into diamond rods because I just wanted something different on my own rods. I'm sick of the plain setup that everybody has.
Yeah.
And got to thinking that it'd be nice to make a diamond handle out of it, and that's kind of what got me into building rods.
Yeah, and of course diamond willow is used for other things, mainly canes, right?
You see a lot of people up north here that have canes out of diamond willow, or, you know, lamps or knickknacks out of them.
Sure.
You know, it's definitely something popular that people are into. So.
Yeah, and diamond willow is all over the place. I mean, where would you go to find this diamond willow that you're going to be using for your handles?
Well, particularly, here's a piece right here.
Well, that piece has been
cut down, but you can find it just about anywhere. You go out in the woods, anywhere there's a wetter land, by a swamp or a lake.
Willow is wet
tends to grow on the wetter areas.
Okay. How big does it get?
It can range from anywhere from small pieces to, you know, pretty good sized trees.
Pretty good sized trees,
yeah,
okay.
People can make bedposts out of it.
Yeah, here's an example of what the final process of a cane, right?
That's correct.
And so when you say diamond willow, now we're going to be talking a lot about diamond willow. That's what this is. You got a hobby here where not too many people make handles out of diamond willow. Yeah. You're the only one you know right now.
Well,
so
as far as the way I do it, yeah.
It's unique.
Yes.
And that's what
Definitely.
this show's all about, is to show somebody in the community
Yep.
that's doing something unique.
Yep.
And you're a young guy, you're just getting started in this, and this is what people like to see. You know, it might turn into a business someday. Well, where do businesses start? They
From the
start
bottom.
right in the garage, right? It's always in the garage. Okay, so the diamond willow, you can show the folks that a little bit about why do they call it diamond willow, and what's the uniqueness of it?
Okay, well, this is a cane that has been carved and finished. You can definitely distinguish it by all the diamonds that are in it, and that is caused from the branches as it grows, they break off. And as it just keeps growing around those spots, and the diamonds get bigger and bigger as it gets older. So,
yeah. Okay, well, there you go. You've got that down. We know what diamond willow is. And now what we're going to do is maybe take a look at the starting process of your system here.
okay,
We're gonna make a rod here, right? And
we're gonna go through the steps of
making a rod. So the first thing you want to do as a rod maker, you got to find what they call blanks.
Yep, you gotta order your materials, and if you go online, the place I like to use is mudhole.com.
Mudhole.com.
And it's
okay.
very, very user friendly for just about anybody. I mean, if you know a little bit of what you're looking for, there should be anything you need to find resources to find it. Mudhole.com has been the easiest place for me to use. There's multiple rod supply crafting companies out there that you can use.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is find a supplier.
Yep.
And because, you know, you just don't make the blanks from scratch.
No,
You've
and-
got to get those type of things to put together.
Yep, and I highly recommend doing a little research into what kind of blanks you're looking for, because there's a lot out there, and
Yeah.
I like to use the MHX brand, both cost-wise and quality-wise.
MHX, okay.
Yep.
Now, we're talking any kind of a rod you can make
Yep.
with these blanks. I mean, you can go
That's
from
correct.
the light crappie rod to a walleye rod, northern rod, muskie rod, anything like
That's
this.
correct, yes.
And so, what are you working on today?
Today we got a medium light 6.5 foot rod blank that we're going to be putting together. And this is the
This is the blank.
bare,
So
bare
there's,
blank of it right here.
there's basically nothing on here, just the blank. What is this made of?
They're carbon or they're fiberglass. They got quite a few different materials out there.
Graphite, I hear?
Or
sometimes,
graphite,
too?
yep.
What is this particular one?
I believe this one is carbon.
Carbon.
Yep.
Okay, so I think when you start pronouncing some of those words, you get a little spendier as you go up, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Carbon
there's
sounds like
high
it would be a little
composite.
bit.
There's
Yeah.
quite a good variety of different kinds out there.
Why would you pick this particular rod for a walleye rod?
Well, you know, I'd like to compare these blanks to a Fenwick, because a lot of people know a Fenwick, and just the feel and functionality of them is what I'm
Okay.
going for. And
Okay.
they do come with a limited lifetime warranty also if there's any defects.
Now, do you bend these to, is there a certain spot in this rod where you have a feel for it? Or?
Yes, you know, and that's what a lot of pre-manufactured rods don't do these days, is they don't take the time to find the spine in the rod blank, which is,
Explain a spine. What's that about?
the spine is where it bends the easiest. It's going to want to go to one side. So I can show you guys how to do that here in a minute. But that's important because it really affects the final outcome of the feel of the rod. And when you do get a bite, it'll keep that tip going the right direction. If the spine is off, it'll go off to one side or
Oh.
the other.
Okay, so you need the spine. Okay, very good. There you go. There's the blank. Now, you've got a setup here where you've got some equipment. Are these something, these holders, are these something you can purchase, of course?
Yes, and that's also all from mudhole.com.
Okay.
It's custom rod builder setup they can supply you with. And they're relatively user friendly as far as cost. It all depends on how much you plan on getting into it, I suppose. But
Okay.
you can spend anywhere from $100 to $500 pretty easily.
Okay, well, what's the first thing you're going to do now? You've got this rod blank,
Okay.
and we want to turn this into a custom rod.
That's
and the
correct.
name of your, what you call them, diamond custom rods. That,
Yes.
You came up with that,
Yes.
okay. Diamond willow, diamond custom
Yep.
rods, okay. So, you know, we got a long ways to go here. You got a blank.
That's
I
correct.
want to be fishing with this afternoon. So tell me how to.
Well, first things first, you make sure you got all your materials ready to go. And I'm going to take this blank, and I'm going to locate the spine. And in order to do that...
And why do you want to locate the spine? Why is that important? Is that where you're going to put your first eye? Or?
Yeah, it's you're going to make the line where the spine is, and that's what you use to guide your... Put your guides on in a straight line on the correct side of the blank.
Okay.
That's correct.
So
I've already started this a little bit, but what you're going to do is you want to just bend it. And I have this keeper here to hold it in place while I do this, but it'll flip to one side very easily. You can find and feel the spine. Once you got that down, you want to put a little mark on it to show that that's where that spine is. And for a spinning rod, you're going to want the spine down. For a casting rod, you want to put the guides on top if the spine is down. Right.
This will probably be a spinning rod. Right?
Yes, this is going to be a spinning rod, so the guides will be on the bottom of the spine.
Okay.
So after I got that, I'm going to draw it out.
Okay.
Make sure that's in the right spot.
So you've got a length measurement table here. Okay.
That's correct.
So these are where
This is what I'm going to use as a reference to put my guides on. And I'm going to draw that spine all the way down the blank. And this is what we call a China marker. And again, you can order all these materials on mudhole.com or any other rod supplier.
So you're drawing that line because you want to get all these eyes even on this blank. Is that pretty much it?
Yes, you want them to be straight. It's going to be very noticeable if they're off even a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can purchase rods in commercial rods out of the local stores, and sometimes the cheaper ones, and you can see the difference.
Yeah, and it's...
You can actually see that they aren't even all the way.
Yeah, and after you get to building these, it's pretty crazy. You pick one up from the store and you just kind of feel a little bit, and you can check just to see if that spine is straight. And it definitely helps if you're thinking about purchasing a pre-manufactured rod.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing about a custom rod, custom means normally means it's one of a kind, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So
all of my rods I make are 100% custom, one of a kind. You won't find another one like it, and they're built to however you like them.
Specs.
Yeah, any kind of special details you want on there can be.
So I could come in with some specs, what I want for, let's say, a northern rod.
That's correct.
And you can build that exactly to the specs that I give you.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's what I recommend usually is giving me an example to go by.
Okay. Next, you've got that line on there.
Okay. Finish drawing this out real quick.
Okay. Yeah, you got to go all the way to the end because.
Yep.
How many eyes would go on a 6.5 foot rod like this?
It can vary depending on the action you want. This is going to be a spinning rod, so probably about 7 or so, maybe 8.
7 or so.
Yes.
And of course they get bigger and they get smaller as they go toward the front.
That's correct.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of people, they like to use pre-manufactured just for a example on what kind of guides to use or spacing, because the spacing and the guide size is crucial for how the rod performs overall.
4, 5, 6. You got 6 guides on this one.
Yep.
This is a manufactured rod.
Pre-manufactured.
Okay.
And like I said, I mean, it varies. You can
vary that.
You can vary it however you like it, really.
Okay, what's the first thing you do to this blank?
Okay, so now I'm going to mark out where I want the guides.
Okay.
So we're going to move down here to the end of my measuring.
Right there.
I'm going to grab this rod for an example.
Okay.
Set it down. And just do some measuring.
So
we're going to start from the tip and go down.
Looks like you've got 4 inches.
4, 9, and 16.
4, 9, and 16, and you just mark that on there. Okay. 4, 9, 16. Well, that takes, this measuring piece takes away a lot of work.
Yes, it does.
Yes, rather than having to hold it
Saves
on
a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
So from there, I'm going to go 8 and 18.
8 and 18. Okay. 8. And 18 right at the end there, yep. Mm-hmm.
I need to go from this one here. There we go.
So we're getting right down to the,
And the last one is
Last
going to
one
be
here.
14.
all right. Now you got the blank, you know which side to aim the eyes because you put the line on there.
The guides, yes.
And I mean the guides. Yeah, I say eyes, guides.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a common,
Yeah,
common
okay.
mistake that everybody makes.
And ready to go.
That's correct. We're going to go ahead and get the guides on here and start thread wrapping.
Okay. If you, let's put one on there and then we can go to something else.
Okay.
Can you do that? Okay. Now that's one of your products we're going to be showing.
Yes,
to you.
I will
That's one of the
go
other
into
ones.
detail with that here in a little bit.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we got that ready. We're going to go ahead and take a guide. I have my guides down there if you can hand them to me.
Here.
Yep. Perfect.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
There's a small one. That's the end guide.
This is the tip top,
Yep,
yes.
Yep. Okay. And then you go from largest to smallest, I imagine.
That's correct. I'll dump these out so everybody can see here.
Okay, there you go. There's,
Now these guides, you can get them. You can get them in a variety of different styles and shapes and colors. It's really up to you what your preference is as far as how you want your rod to look in the final product.
do they still call these Fuji guides or anything?
Yeah, that's a manufacturer of guides.
That's what it's in my case. So
Yeah.
it's just not the wire that the line is going on. This
Nope.
is lined in here with
Yep, it's
softer.
they
or-
got ceramic or they
Okay.
got a different kind of composite steels they use and zirconia. There's quite a different
I
variety.
suppose
of them.
better it is, the more pricey it is, right?
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
look
and-
at it.
One of the most expensive ones I've seen are the holographic ones, and they're all different colors.
Yeah,
And but yeah, it's
Well,
all up to you how much you want to put into your rod, really.
sure. But if you're going to get a custom rod, you might as well make it look presentable, right?
That's what I try to recommend. If
Yeah.
you're gonna spend the money on it.
Yeah. Most of the
might as
time, it
well
might be
go ahead.
hanging on the wall.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
That's correct.
All right.
All right,
now-
we'll go ahead and get this first one on here.
Okay. Nothing I can help you with. You do this all alone. so-
Yeah, I'm out here quite a bit.
All right.
And it's crucial to have a few different sizes of tape because you're going to need them for various different applications throughout the rod building process. And right
Whole
now,
thing's in place, right?
that's correct.
And then removable. Yeah.
Something that isn't going to leave a mark when it's
Right.
done.
There you go.
So
you
what
got
I'm going to
thinner.
use right now is my thinnest tape just to hold the guide on. And it's going to be your best friend for a little bit. So we're going to line that up, got the spine up. We're going to go ahead and put that guide in place and throw a piece of tape on there to hold it until we get some thread wrapping on there.
Now, most folks wouldn't think that it'd be important whether this rod is twisted this way or this way, but it's that spine thing.
It is. It's a very crucial part. Like I said, it affects the overall feel of the rod.
Yeah. So these blanks aren't all made equally. I mean, there's a spine in there
That's
that
correct.
goes one way.
And I don't know if that's actually intentional by the manufacturer, but I know that it's very crucial to find it just for what I said, feel and function of the rod when you're done.
Okay.
So we got that guide on now.
All right, now we've got, you're going to put some thread on it. Obviously, you've got a lot of different colored thread, different, I don't know, is there different texture or different strength?
That's
or
correct.
whatever?
There's different textures, different thicknesses. It all depends on the application or how you want the rod to look when you're done. But I like to use size A. It's the thinnest thread you can get. And it just looks better, I think, on the thread wrapping for the guides.
When you get a thinner thread and more wraps,
That's correct.
It just kind of reflects a little better.
And it all depends on what kind of design you're going for in the final product.
Oh, good.
Then we have our tip-top glue. That's what you use to put the tip-top of the rod on. And we will get that and show you how that works.
Okay. All right. So your eye is right on the line. And
okay, so I'm going to use this thicker string for a reference material just so it's easier to see for people and show you how to start wrapping your guide on. So what you're first going to want to do, and this custom rod builder setup has a tensioning system for the thread that runs through a various set of eyes, and it's adjustable. And you got your tip here to keep pressure on it as you're winding. But as I said, I'm using this for an example piece so it's easier to see right now.
okay.
And what you're going to want to do is get a few pieces of tape ready to go, because they're going to need it to hold the string in place.
Quite the process, and you got to do this 6 to 7 times.
Yeah, the bigger the rod is, the longer it takes.
Well, while you're doing this, explain, how long does it take you to make a rod?
Well, with my schedule, if I didn't have to do anything else, I could probably whip one out in 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days?
That's fully built, finished. Because it takes time for everything to set. There's 2-part epoxies you have to let set.
So you talking 10, 12 hours on something like this?
Oh, all of that, yes.
Really?
Yes, it's quite the tedious process actually for, you know, it isn't so bad if you got pre-manufactured handles, but since I'm doing the diamond willow handles, that's
sure.
really
and we're going to get into that here, show you how that is. So, you know, when you're asking, you know, let's say, you hear about these rods that are $100, $200, $300, you know, per hour.
Yeah.
It's probably the investment is well worth it.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, I mean, the more time and detail you put into it, the better your product you're going to have in the end.
Sure. Okay.
So if I could stress anything to people who are going to get into this is patience and take your time and pay attention to details.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
so
I think that's what I'd want you to do if you were going to make a $300 rod.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to put the first wrap on now, and you just want to go around the blank and then tape that little piece of string off. And the reason we do this is because after we get a few winds on, we're going to be able to snip that piece off and the string will hold itself on. So we're ready to go now, and I'm going to start making my winds. You typically want it to go just past the guide foot. Then you cross that string back over. Yeah. Keep twisting around.
Well, that string underneath was holding the guide right on there.
That's correct.
Yeah, so you got to have pressure on that. So how much pressure are you putting on that string?
A decent amount. You want it to be pretty tight on there so that nothing moves around on you. But after you get the first few winds on, you can go ahead and remove this tape that holds the string on and cut that excess off because the string it's holding itself on now. Now obviously this is thicker string, so it's a little easier to work with.
Well, I can certainly see, and anybody watching this, that this is not a fast process.
No, it's definitely time consuming, and they do have equipment out there to speed the process up that you hook it up to a motor and
that's what I was thinking. There's probably a motor involved or an electrical device.
Yep, but it all depends on how much you want to spend and how much you're going to get into it.
But again, Joe, you're just getting into this. You've been in this about a little less than a year.
That's correct.
And yet your satisfaction so far in this little hobby has been great.
It's been real great, you know, and I've been getting good feedback from people on just the
Have you had people use your rods?
Yes, I have. I actually have a couple people that have a couple of them out there, and
most of them walleye rods.
Yeah, for the most part, that's a pretty popular thing up here. So,
all right.
And ice fishing rods.
Okay, I never thought. You know, there's another thing. Ice fishing rods. They're shorter rods. I suppose you're kind of into that too, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely a popular thing in the wintertime. Sure. So now that I got the thread up over that guide foot, I'm gonna remove that tape that's holding the guide on and continue wrapping.
Okay.
You want to go just up before the guide, and then you stop and you have to put a loop in to pull that string back through when you're done wrapping. You're gonna want it to overlap about 5 wraps.
Okay. Overlap this?
Yes.
Okay. The string you just put in there,
that's correct.
That's so you can make the knot in the end, right? Because
4,
okay.
5.
You don't want that thing coming loose.
That's correct. So I'm going to hold it together with my finger here and cut that excess off. And I'm going to run it through that loop that I put in there. And then pull it back through. You want to keep your string tight as you can as you're doing this. And when you pull it back through, now it's holding itself on there. And that's all there is to thread wrapping, really, unless you get into the details and want to put accents or different colors in there with it. But overall, it's a pretty.
Let's hold that up to the camera. Show what you've done so far on this.
So far, I've located the spine, marked where the guides are going to go, and now I've wrapped the first guide on.
That's not going anywhere.
No, it's pretty solid.
It's pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how well the string holds it on there after you're done.
And then you're going to coat this.
That's correct. And the epoxy is going to both preserve the color and seal it up so it protects it from any rust that might occur from the metal or just protect it from the elements outside.
Great. So then you've got, I can see where you're days into this thing.
So you get out here and then you start getting into detail and putting, the accent colors in. And
do you ever put the person's name on the rods or anything? You can do that.
It's up to them, so whatever
you got a method of doing that. You can.
I'm pretty artistic, so I like to use paint markers to do custom work like that.
Yeah. Wow.
I can put any kind of details into the handle you want, wood burning or painting a picture.
You're getting me ready to almost put in my order already here, so that's great. Okay, well, we've got that done. Now we'll leave that. You got so many more to put on here, guides.
That's correct. So what I would do from here is just finish putting the guides on and apply the tip top.
Yeah.
That way it's ready for epoxy. And
epoxy, that's no big deal. We didn't have to show that. You just cover this, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how many coats do you put epoxy on here? Just the one?
It depends on what kind of epoxy you're using. They have the stuff that sets a little thinner, or they have epoxies that set thick. So, I mean, if you got the thick stuff, you usually only need about 1 coat.
That doesn't affect the color of this, does it?
No.
It doesn't?
No, it actually makes it more vibrant.
Vibrant. It's more of a glossy type
epoxy. Especially in the sun. You get them in the sun.
Okay.
And even with these diamond handles, they don't do it no justice until you get it in the sunlight.
Let's go to the handle.
Okay.
That's what's going to make this thing really unique is the handle, because you don't see them out there.
Okay, well, we will jump over to lathing it down and show you the process of making the handle.
And we'll show you the initial piece you're going to be using, too.
That's correct.
Okay, Joe, we're in the process of looking at the handle.
That's correct.
Making the handle. This is what's going to make this rod unique. I mean, we can put guides on, we can show people the guides. And
do all the fancy thread wrapping.
When you start pulling this baby out and you're showing your friends,
the first thing that catches their eyes is the diamond handle.
Diamond handles. So this is a piece of diamond willow. And why did you pick this particular piece?
I like to pick pieces that have the character I'm looking for, and it can be kind of hard to see, but there are diamonds in this piece. You can see them as you look through it.
These are branches that are broken off.
That's where the branch broke off. And, you know,
does all willow have diamonds?
You know, there's different species, and some are more diamond friendly, others aren't so diamond friendly, and you know, I haven't really took the time to break it down, but
you can tell by going out and looking.
Yeah, I mean,
because you cut these pieces.
Yes,
so.
it's literally by going out there and just seeing a piece that you like, and if it works for what you're using it for.
Now, to me, you'd have to get these awful dry before you work on them. I mean, you just can't grab them out of the woods by a swamp and expect to work on them right away.
That's correct. Yeah,
So,
I highly recommend giving them plenty of time to dry with the bark on. If you peel the bark off and let them dry too fast, it can split the wood, and that piece is
so it dries
shot
slowly
after that.
with the bark on.
That's
And then you peel it. Okay.
And if you stand them up, I notice that tends to help a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Dry
like a
it a
chimney.
little faster. Yep. And just
Sure.
kind of sucks the moisture
Yeah,
right
even
out
when
of
you
it.
stack wood, sometimes like that
Yep.
helps too. So you've got a couple pieces here now. You've got one that's
I got one cut and ready to go in the lathe, and I'll show you guys how to start peeling the bark and shaping the handle.
sounds good. Then we'll show at the end of the show, we're going to show the rod that's already done. And
Yes.
it's beautiful.
Yes,
And that's what this process is going to
that's correct.
go toward here. Okay.
So I'm going to get this ready to go.
This lathe isn't a huge investment, really.
Not really, you know, and I
Go to a garage sale?
found this online actually
Okay.
on Craigslist. A guy was selling it for pretty cheap, and it's definitely old school, but I kind of like it.
It's a lathe with a blade, and that just, you
That's
guide that
correct.
down and,
And you're going to want a decent chisel set.
okay.
You have a variety of different chisels. There's round ones, flat ones.
And you're going to show us what you use those chisels for.
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Okay. Let her rip.
okay, here we go. We're gonna start peeling bark, and I like to use the wider flat or wider round one to use to peel the bark off.
Okay, so this doesn't necessarily machine peel the bark off. You got to help it.
Yep, you got to do it by hand with the chisel.
You do.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
I'll stand
put my
away. 'cause
safety
it looks-
glasses
yep.
on, and my gloves, and we're ready to go.
And this is a product right out of the woods of Itasca County. So you can take all kinds of products out of our nature,
Yes,
natural resources, and here's one of them right here.
That's correct. I'm all for using stuff from
Yep.
the local area.
Okay.
As you can see, the bark will start flying. Gotta adjust my lathe.
A little tighter, huh?
Yeah. With these fresh pieces, they kind of have a mind of their own for a little bit. You don't want to gouge into it too fast. You want to ease into it.
Of course, you can make different shapes with that too, can't you? You
That's
can go
correct.
in and come out like this.
That's correct.
All right. I see you're taking it down quite a ways.
Yeah.
You just have a feeling for how far you want to go?
You know, I've done this a few times, and I've noticed you can kind of tell as you're chiseling it down, but that bark is a lot thicker than you'd think it is to get down to the good chunks of the wood.
Heart of the wood, huh?
That's
And that's what
correct.
you're looking for.
So as you can see, I've already taken quite a bit off. but it's still not perfectly round.
Yeah, and there's the diamond right there. So you're getting
That's
down
correct.
toward this, and
And
that's what you want to preserve
That's
for the
correct.
looks, right?
Yeah, I mean, the more you take it down, the less
Less diamond
character
you're
it's
gonna
going to have. But
Okay.
at the same time, you want to make sure it's functional for the application, so
Right.
you want to try to get it as round as possible.
Well, some people like thicker handles, and you can customize that to whatever they
correct.
want.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I'll go ahead and try to finish
Sure.
laying this down. Here.
All right.
So now you can see where exactly that diamond is going to be in that
Oh,
chunk
look
of
at
wood.
that. Sure. And that's going to retain a little different color then?
That's
so
correct.
it'll show up. It's got to, otherwise
it'll
you're not
keep
gonna see
that
it.
brown instead of taking whatever color is I use
Sure.
for a stain
Okay.
on there.
Yeah, that seems even a little wet.
Yeah, it's a fresh piece, and what I usually do is I'll get most of the bark off if they're a little fresh.
Sure.
I don't peel it all the way down like this.
Right.
I'll leave it about right there, you know,
Okay.
and
Well,
just let it dry out for a
Sure.
few days.
Let's go to the next phase here.
Okay. So I already have a handle ready to go that is dried.
You've got another one someplace here. There you go.
Here's one that is dried and already been formed a little bit, but I'm going to do some reshaping on it. And you can see there's wormholes
Yes.
and
Those aren't all
there's
bad, though,
diamonds.
are they?
Not necessarily.
to the-
Yeah, it adds a lot of character to
Character
it.
to it, sure.
What you're going to want to look for is to make sure the middle isn't punky and rotten out.
'Cause that's where you're.
That's where the
Crossing
strength of the handle is going to be, and you can usually tell right away once you get down to this part if it's going to be solid or not.
Okay.
So that one's ready to go. We'll go ahead and throw it in.
So what's your plan on this now?
I just want to reshape it a little bit, and then we're going to sand it and get it smooth
Okay.
and ready for the final stages of the handle process.
Okay.
Some adjustment here.
Adjust the machine to the length there, huh?
That's correct. And a newer lathe might be a little easier for this part.
Yeah.
But you gotta
Well, this is part of the whole
utilize
process.
what you got. Yep.
That's right. Like an,
And get your right length here.
Okay, so you took this piece down with your chisel.
That's correct, and it's already been sanded a little bit. It needs to, like I said, I'm just going to reshape it a little bit
Sure.
for the customer.
Let's show how you do a little reshaping there. And what are you
And-
going to shape it? More character into it? A little more here, a little less in here?
A little less in the back, I think, and
Okay.
just want to get rid of a couple of rough spots, and then I'm going to use some sandpaper to get it smooth and looking good. So I believe we're ready to go here. Almost. Gotta love these old lathes.
Got to get that tight.
I'm using a flat chisel now just to,
This is a different one now.
yes,
They should be sharp, right?
they're very sharp.
Okay. done with this process, that's pretty much what your handle is going to look like, the shape of it.
That's correct.
So you can, whatever the customer wants, you can shape this according to what their desires are.
That's correct.
With this process right here. Okay.
Yeah, some people like to have some chiseled in designs or
Design handle like grips or something like that. You could put grips in here or whatever you want.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Or just leave it smooth and
Sure.
depending on the look of the rod, whatever the customer wants.
Okay.
So now I got that shaped down a little more. And as you can see, it's a little rough right now.
That's all right. That's what it's going to be. And then you start sanding
That's correct. And I'll just
Just
leave
have-
it. I leave it in
sure.
the lathe for that
Sure.
because it makes it a
and show you the type
lot
of
faster
sandpaper.
process. And
Now, what are you looking at? You go from a little rougher to light sandpaper, or
depending on how rough the wood is, I like to start with around 80
Yeah.
grit. And
You
then
start
move
with
my
80
way
grit.
down to 100 or so.
okay? So, what's your final grit you use before you apply?
I don't like to go more than 100
Oh,
just because it helps retain the color when I use my colors in the wood,
Okay.
unless they're going for the natural look. And you know, it all depends on the application.
and you're going to color this eventually with
This handle here is going to be stained yellow, actually.
yellow. Okay.
And that's a color I haven't done yet, so I'm really curious to
Okay.
see how it
You
works.
stain it, and then you apply your. Is it an epoxy over the handle?
Yeah, it's a two-part epoxy that I use, or you can use any kind of clear
Yeah.
coat you desire, really.
Clear coat kind of brings out the luster.
brings out the
depth.
luster and the grains,
Yeah.
and you know, it really
All right.
makes the diamonds
Well, we're
pop
getting down
out.
to the end here, so if we could see maybe look at. Well, here, how do you do you sand it with that too?
Yeah, I just used
Okay,
it in
try
the
to
lathe.
show that. Yeah.
Speeds up the process.
Oh, okay.
quite a bit.
There you go. Okay.
So as you can see, it got a lot of that roughness out
Oh
of it.
yeah. Oh, it's smooth.
Yes.
Just very smooth. A lot more than I thought it was going
Yeah.
to be. Okay.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and go show you a final product
Final
of what you
product,
can
and then,
expect
yeah.
to see when you're said and done.
Okay. After the lathing and the sanding, there's a lot more
There
to
is.
do here. But
you gotta-
let's show the final products to show here. Well, this one first is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you know, I'm wondering if I don't want to even use this.
Yeah.
I'd want a
have
good case for it or
I have a
something.
customer who says he's
Yeah.
going to mount it on his wall. So.
Yeah, I see you got an M or a W. I don't know what
That's
that
a M. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a Minnesota Gopher rod that I'm doing
boy,
for the guy.
oh boy. That, and you can feel which you put a little bit of a notch in here.
Yep.
And then this piece, that's a whole different piece there. And then of course mounting on this.
Yeah, you
This
got
is
your-
all whatever you want in here.
Your
you
reel
can
seat,
put-
you can customize, get any style of reel seat you want in there.
This is a real seat.
That's correct.
That's where the reel goes. And then this is customized, and then you put everything in there. Absolutely amazing. That's a beautiful product you have.
Thank you,
there.
Tom.
Absolutely beautiful. And I see you've got your little,
The MHX logo, that's the blank that
that's
I
the
use.
blanks, okay.
And it has the length and
Mm-hmm.
weight you can use, line,
Sure.
and I've got my signature on there.
Signature, and then if you want to, you know, here you got a little emblem in there.
That's correct. And then the Goldie
Just
Gopher.
Golden
is
Gophers.
A request from the customer.
Yeah.
He is
Well-
actually having it made for his father, so
So you're talking hours and hours of effort
that's correct.
put into this rod, and I love the eyes. I mean the
guides,
guides. I keep seeing eyes, but you got a multicolor here.
That's correct, and that's what I was mentioning earlier about putting the details into it, and that's really
Yes.
what
Sure.
puts the time into it.
Yeah, and this is almost like gold. It's just beautiful in the light here.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time.
Yeah. Using it out in the
Well,
water.
what I do is I have a good case for it, take it,
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
case I wanted to show it.
You know, and,
Fantastic.
I have guys asking me about making wall mounts for them out of diamond willow.
Well, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you can. Oh, yeah. There's no end to that.
No,
that's
if you
for
want
sure.
an accessory made, just mention it,
Sure.
and I'm sure I can make
Beautiful.
it happen.
Okay, let's show this one.
Okay, this here is
Well, you see those a lot. You see what with the separation
split
there.
handle design.
What's the deal there?
You know, it reduces the weight a bit, and
Yes.
a lot of guys like that, and it
So
just
they
looks
hold it
looks
like
unique.
this?
No, not necessarily.
Up there, but it's just unique.
It's something to rest on your arm, or
Yeah. Sure.
you know, this
That's
is
a lighter rod there. That looks like a
this is
crappie rod, huh?
ultralight pan fishing rod,
Okay.
and
But look at the colors you made here. What is that's just a dye?
yeah, it's a dye I use to stain the wood.
I think I'd like folks to see that handle a little closer.
Yeah,
Just
I can take that out of your hand.
yeah.
if you want.
I don't know.
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
going to show this, but
Need more room in here.
you talk about uniqueness there and all the different colors. And that's diamond willow. And you match this up with the colors here.
That's correct.
It's
It's a theme that goes into the rod.
a work of art.
That's
What it
I'd
is.
like to think so.
Terrific. Well,
And my whole goal is to make it look good on the wall at the end of the day
yeah,
too.
and functional, of
Fully
course.
functional
Yeah,
and
fully functional.
Professional status.
Well, we went through, real quick, the basics here on this rod making, and it's, like you said, there's a lot more to this.
That's
A
correct.
lot more nomenclature
Yep.
about all the different parts and the different processes and so on. But I think we did a pretty good job in showing, the basics
basic
of
run-through,
what you
yes,
got to go.
and-
What we did show was how the effort
Yes.
that goes into
A
it.
lot of effort.
The amount of
goes into
effort
it,
that
a
goes into
lot of
something like
time.
this.
But
Yeah.
as I mentioned, there's lots of resources out there to find information on anything you're doing to build a custom rod, and
Mm-hmm.
usually people are more than happy to give you a helping hand, or
Sure,
give you some guidance on
sure.
finding what you're looking for to do it.
Yeah, there's people that make their own rods and make rods, but yours is the diamond willow thing. That's specific to you,
That's correct.
and you're going to continue to do that with the local diamond willow
Definitely.
wood. So,
It can only get better from
yeah.
here. So
Well, that's right. Well, I think this was a good show, and I think people are going to learn a lot about just what goes into something like this, because
Yes.
I think they really appreciate it.
yeah,
There's an appreciation here
There is.
after you watch this show, I think,
that's correct.
to
yeah.
see this. So I thank you very much for
Thank you for
showing
being
us
here.
your garage here and what you do in it and your little hobby, and hopefully it'll grow for you
Me too.
at the end
I'm
of the day.
being optimistic.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank you folks for watching Just Outdoors. And remember, stay informed.